teamwork. So the teamwork is there, and the students are there who love being the student of LMI as well as Gulshan Branch. We can talk about that.
Hope you are enjoying today, the green day. Okay. I just want to make a request from you that you all receive the headbands in the morning. So if you have it right now, please wear it. So you will get the same feeling and you will be again fresh. Those who did not receive, please, the volunteers on duty, if you have it, please give it to them. I want this to be with everyone. Yeah, again like a princess. Okay. First of all, let me just few minutes talk and then I'll begin with my lecture and the language, everything, the language things. First of all, this compliments which I just received from Ma'am and Jum. I am very thankful of it. Thank you so much, ma'am. And whatever she said, everything is just true. Like being a student, you do not have so many responsibilities. You are very casual. You don't know. You are just concentrating on your studies and everything. But being a part of your professional life, the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you dress up, everything gets changed and changed and changed. And there comes a vast change in your personality. And I personally had that drastic change in my personality. Beside that, today, as we will be doing the language subject, so just I would like to appreciate the hard work of all my students, day and night. They made all the efforts, all the strings, they are just handmade birds and we just made it with the dough. And the feathers are there and everything, the balloons, the pots, even they are hanging. We made it, we painted and we did it in only in a week. Less than in a week we It gives you the idea about how you can make the language, introduce the language, and I will discuss that later on. But I just would like to thank each and every one of my students for having a good cooperation with me. Pushing me back, okay, nahi, you can do it, you can do it. Actually, this is the first time I don't know what I'm going to do today, tomorrow, the coming days, because every time I am assisting someone. And for being an assistant, you are not responsible for the main presentations, for the lectures and this and that. You just have to give the material and read the names and this. And this time, I'll be on screen. So I hope I can do it. Whatever I can deliver.
Now settle down. Listen, take notes. In order to understand language, you got to understand the lecture. So, let us focus on language presentation. First of all, Ms. Amina Rafi, she will be giving a lecture, Introduction to Language. So, all over to you.
Of different subjects. You heard about EPL, you heard about sensorial, and today you will be hearing me about giving you lecture regarding language. Over here, in the Montessori environment, this language is one of the major subjects which you can deal with the children. Because if you cannot talk, if you cannot communicate properly, it will be difficult for you to teach them. Because for teaching, we need words. And these words are the part of our language. because of our needs. It is not God gifted. It is not nature's blessed, says. It is the thing which we people have made with our own efforts. And I'll be showing you the history that how the language is we have made. If you look into the definition, it says as, it is the ability to acquire and use complex system of communication, use particularly the human ability to do so, and as a language in any specific example of such system. Now, without language, there is no complex system which is associated with men's ability and men's tendency to reproduce. If you look into the facial expression, it is shown in the picture. Like, sometimes we communicate with our gestures, with our expressions. Like, if you are sad and if you cannot able to speak, you just show your facial expression of being sad. If you are happy and if you have no words to express your feelings, you just show it on your face. So these expressions are also the part to communicate. But to give them words, the language is necessary. You cannot only show your expressions and you cannot show the emotions without the use of words. So the combination of words, the combination of sounds, the combination of vowels, the consonants comes into a major component, and that we call language. You can see it is a method or the style of expression and a signaling system that operates with vocal sounds and which is used by a group of people for the purpose of social cooperation. Now, if I would like to express my feelings, I need the words. The way people use the words to express their feelings, their ideas, they need language. In the beginning, it happens like when the people were just living in one family, they can communicate with their own like gestures, own postures. But when man needs to work, they move from one place to another, and then he comes to know that there must be any tool by which I can communicate the things with the other people. And for that need, he has made the language. So language arises out due to the need. Then the meaning and the purpose why we need language, what's the meaning? So remember on the day one I have told you that it is derived from the Latin word lingua, which means tongue. And this lingua is just the collection of different sounds which has no meaning itself. Like if we say the sound ka, pa, ta, ma, these are just sounds which are just associated with your vocal. These are all vocal sounds. Does it have any meaning? No. But when you join these sounds together, like if I say k is a sound, a is a sound, t is a sound. If I fuse these sounds together, k, a, t, cat, b, o, t, pot, act, mat. So these sounds specifically have no meaning itself, but meaning has been given when they fuse them together and it makes a word. So it also gives voice to our thoughts. It is the rhythm of our feelings and the excitement of our heart and the way by which we communicate. So all this language, it deals with we, people, right? And it is very important the way we are going to introduce to the child, because the child is the one who is the only preserver of the language, who has to keep his language all by himself. Now, it is interacting and the way to express our feelings, ideas, and it makes our life easier, right? If you do not understand any language, You will be unable to know what the person is saying. Like if I start speaking in Spanish or Chinese, will you be able to understand? You can only look into the pictures. That's all you can do. So language makes things easier, and it also helps in developing the human society and major factors between the group of people. Okay. The language purpose is the help to attain your needs, wishes and desires, and it always belongs to a group, therefore it helps in speech communities. Okay, just look into the word speech communities. Look at this slide. What these speech communities are? It is a group of people who shares a set of norms and expectations regarding the use of language. Can you see the picture? Can everybody see the picture in the slide? This is a group of people and they share the similar norms and expectations regarding the use of language. You can see there is a man who is having a verb. There is a man who is making any sort of machine. There is a man who is on the Twitter. The one who is using email. So the people need the language to form the communities for sharing of the ideas. And this we call it as the speech communities. Yes, next please. Okay. Now the history of language. How does it evolve? How does it come? Now this is the human tendency to communicate. We people have to communicate. How does we communicate? That is the history. Now in the previous days, what happened? That there were no words. People used to communicate with the help of different sounds of different animals, shrieks and cries of different animals. They use different sounds for sharing whether they are happy, whether they are sad. They use different sounds for that. So this history of language is basically the history of us, history of man, because we have taken it out and now there are more than 5,000 languages throughout the world which are being spoken. So it is the human tendency to communicate with others, and this would underlie the emergence of language. The history of language can actually a history of man and can be given to children in a story form, so that they can build the respect and the love for our language. Like being Pakistani, our national language is Urdu, right? So it doesn't mean that we should not give the concentration only in English. We should have to give the concentration equally to the Urdu as well. This Montessori system has not been given in English language. Maria Montessori has given the system in her own native tongue, the Italian. And then this has been converted into English. So why don't we give the same preference to Urdu? Because this language is the gift which we have achieved through our hard work, right? So story in a form of different cards you can show, different boards you can make, because this history of language is actually the history of man. In this way you can introduce different poems, songs to the child, and sometimes you can put those stories also in the form of a poem. Like, for example, I am just telling you a story right now, and after that I am going to convert it into a poem. One sunny day, there was a father who decided to see who is the most brilliant and intelligent child. He has 3 sons. So one day, he called all of them to the table and gave them one apple. He gave one instruction to them, that you have to cut the apple when no one is looking at you. The eldest son got the idea. He ran into his room. He shut the door
and all the windows. Switch off the light, cut the apple and eat it. Now, the second son, he thought what he has to do. Then he also went into his room. He also shut the door and the window, just like the eldest son. He opened the door of the cupboard. He sat on the cupboard, cut the apple, and thought nobody is looking me here. So he ate it. Now, the youngest son, what he has to do? He also went to his room. When he reached there was nobody. But he said that if I will cut it here, Allah is watching me. So it's not a good idea to cut the apple here. Then he was so much looking here and there and thinking what to do. He took that apple to the top of the mountain. And then look here and there. Again, he thought, now he went to the forest. Over there, he thought, Allah is again watching me here. So he bring his apple back to the home. The other day, the father called all of these 3 children. And the father asked them, where did you cut? The eldest one said, I cut into my room. There was nobody. The second one said, I cut in the cupboard. There was nobody. The youngest one, the father asked, why you have not cut your apple? Why you bring it back? He gave the answer, I went into the room. Allah is watching me. I went on the top of the mountain. Allah is watching me. I went into the forest. Allah is watching me. Allah is everywhere. So that is why I bring my apple back. So in this way, you can introduce the children about the moral-based stories. And the and now, let's convert it into the poem, right? Ma'am Shumaila, please. अली गया जंगल में, अली गया जंगल में, अली गया जंगल में, और सोचने लगा, अल्लाह तो है यहाँ भी, अल्लाह तो है उधर भी, अल्लाह तो हर जगह है। वो वापस आ गया, अली गया बाग में, अली गया बाग में, अली गया बाग में, और सोचने लगा, अल्लाह तो है इधर भी, अल्लाह तो है उधर भी, अल्लाह तो हर जगह है। वो वापस आ गया। So in this way you can add more and more words everywhere. One other poem, Ma'am Asfa, will you please join me? The sounds, right? And the poem is called as Old MacDonald's. Old MacDonald's had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Old MacDonald's had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on his farm he had some ducks, E-I-E-I-O. And on his farm he had some ducks, E-I-E-I-O. The duck quack quack here, the duck quack किसने बनाया तू